Origin Protocol. Expanded Files. Case 001, Chapter 3. Master Li knew he was going to die. I am certain of this now. I was not certain then. Then, I told myself I was imagining it. That I was a young man who had watched 2 people die in 2 months and had become convinced that death was everywhere because death had been everywhere. That I was projecting a knowledge onto Master Li that he could not possibly have. But I have had 48 years to think about the way he moved through those January days. The way he organized things. The way he spoke to certain people. And I am certain now. He knew. In the first week of January he began going through the storage rooms. Not urgently. Carefully. With the methodical patience of a man who has decided to put his affairs in order and has allowed himself sufficient time to do it properly. He sorted the oldest texts. Made decisions about which should be moved and where. He wrote notes in the margins of certain records. Not new content. Clarifications. Things that would help whoever came after him understand what they were looking at. I watched him do this and I did not say anything. I did not say, I think you are in danger. I did not say, I have been watching her and I believe she is the reason Park Jae-won is dead and Cho Sung-ail is dead. I did not say any of this. I have asked myself why for 48 years. The answers I find are not satisfying. I was afraid. That is true but insufficient. I had no proof. Also true, also insufficient. I had told myself not to act without evidence, and I had no evidence, and so I did not act. But these explanations do not reach the deeper thing. The deeper thing is this: I wanted to see what he would do. Not Master Li. Not him specifically. I wanted to see what she would do. Whether she would move. Whether my understanding of what was happening was correct. I had decided to watch, and I was watching, and I had not yet reached the end of what watching would reveal. This is the thing I am least comfortable saying. But it is true. And I promise to say all of it. Master Li came to me in the second week of January. He found me in the small room where I did most of my reading. He sat down across from me. He did not speak immediately. He looked at me for some time with the expression of a man who is deciding how much to say. Then he spoke. He did not name her. He did not accuse anyone. He did not speak of what he suspected. He spoke in the old formal register, the kind that carries multiple meanings, the kind that says one thing and means several things simultaneously, the kind that cannot be quoted in a police report because the words themselves are innocent. He spoke about the importance of remembering. About the obligation of those who survived to carry what the dead were carrying. About how the work of preservation did not end with any individual. About how the records would matter more after certain events than they did before. He spoke about his son. He had not spoken of his son in the 3 years I had known him. Not once. His son had been taken by the Japanese authorities in 1935. He had died in custody. The official record said illness. No one believed the official record. Master Li spoke of his son briefly. He said, he was 23 years old. He said, he knew what the risks were. He said, he chose to carry what he was carrying anyway. He said, I used to think this was a tragedy. He said, I have reconsidered. Then he stopped speaking. I sat very still. We looked at each other for a long moment. And then he stood, and straightened his clothes, and went back to the storage room to continue organizing the texts. That was the last real conversation I had with him. He died on the 19th of January. His housekeeper found him in the morning. He was seated at his desk. The county doctor wrote the same thing he had written twice before. Sudden cardiac failure. The form was already familiar to him by then. He filled it out quickly. I heard about it before noon. I did not cry. I had no tears left for crying. I sat in the small reading room and I thought about what he had said to me. The old formal register. The multiple meanings. The son who had chosen to carry what he was carrying. And I understood, finally, what he had been telling me. He had not been asking me to prevent it. He had been asking me to remember it correctly. He knew I was watching. He had known for some time. And he had decided, in the particular way that Master Li made decisions, quietly and completely and without announcing them to anyone, he had decided that what I was doing was correct. That watching was what the situation required. That the work of preservation required a witness, and I was the witness, and my job was not to intervene but to see. I do not know if he was right about this. I have never been able to decide if the mercy he extended to my silence was wisdom or resignation. Whether he was releasing me from an obligation I could not fulfill anyway, or whether he was telling me something true about what witnessing means. What I know is this. After his death I stopped hesitating. Not about acting. I had already decided not to act. I stopped hesitating about watching. I watched with complete attention and complete commitment. I became, in those last weeks of January and into February, exactly what Master Li had described. A witness. Carrying what the dead had been carrying. Preparing to remember it correctly. Master Kim continued her work at the Seowon. She had what she needed now. All three of the senior scholars. All of the network intelligence they had held. All of the connections and contacts and distribution routes. I watched her receive this information and I thought, now she will leave. I was wrong about that. She stayed. And I began to understand that what she was doing was not finished. That the intelligence gathering had been preparation. That the departure of the senior scholars had been necessary but not sufficient. Something else was coming. I did not yet know what. This is where Chapter 3 ends. I have told you about Master Li's death and what he said to me before it. I have told you what I understood him to mean and whether I believe he was right. I have told you that after his death I stopped hesitating. What I have not told you is what happened in February. What happened in February was what everything had been preparation for. But that is Chapter 4. Origin Protocol. Expanded Files. Case 001, Chapter 3. End of record.